Okay, right. So what we are expecting is that what I'm expecting from you is that this is the outline that you people have already followed. So it means that you have a good introduction to internet architecture, that how internet works, work, and how basically there are different things. So what I'm expecting that you already are familiar with these things. And then JavaScript, introduction to JavaScript. So you are very much familiar with the JavaScript. JavaScript is, is the foremost very important language that that is started from the client, and now it has just taken over everything. And in the very beginning, there was one another language that became popular at that time when JavaScript was introduced. Can anyone name that? What was that language that was introduced, or that became popular at the same time, and JavaScript became popular, but then that language phased out. Anyone just remember? Or maybe if you do not, there was something called a VB script as well, if you remember. So there was something called a VB script as well, and that became popular for some time, and then that's just phased out. But JavaScript, since its inception, since it started, it has just taken over everything. And we know that it started all the way from the client, and now it has taken everything from on the servers as well. So again, as I said, that what we are expecting that I'm expecting that you have completed the JavaScript functions and what are globals and JavaScript scope and closures. What you are familiar with all those things in general. And then you are introduced to this object and built-in objects, string and regular expressions that you have used for your different purposes. And then also we have these built-in class, built-in objects that you have used. HTML5, it's a very important umbrella that comes with everything. And today, since it is the just a preview, and you can call it an overview of everything today. So we'll be just having some interaction, some question answers, some maybe related things related to HTML5 as well, and as well as JavaScript. So that I would be just gauging that how much we need to discuss, like when we'll be just diving into some of the advanced concepts of this course. So then we have again. So you are familiar with DOM and document object model, and you have done what I'm expecting is that you have done like this DOM, and you are familiar with going into the structure of the document, structure of the HTML document, and just working that out structurally, and working with the elements on the runtime. So you are familiar with that. And again, this is our expectation. And then CSS, of course, CSS is just like the looks and everything of our web applications. So I'm expecting that you are familiar with CSS box model, display and positioning layout. These are all important. So and then forms and client-side validation and Ajax and JSON fetching that are dynamically updating the DOM. So would any one of you would like to just tell me that this course that you have already done, we have 222 that you have just completed in the previous semester, maybe, or maybe before that. So all of you are coming just fresh from this course, or maybe there was some break in between, because some people, what I see is that I do not understand again exactly the terminology at Seneca College, that there are some people who are on year 2 level 4, year 2 level 3. I don't exactly gauge that what is going on. So are you people coming fresh from this course, like most of you, or is it a course that you have studied maybe one semester before, or the previous semester? So it usually happens before, like again before this Web322, that this 222 just happens before that, or before that. So anyone can just whenever you feel comfortable, you can just answer. Okay, you came just completed in the previous semester. So right, so looks like that this is the trend. This is the technique. Like you are just coming fresh. So if you are coming fresh from that, that will be very good, because we'll be just moving, or we'll be just taking all those concepts that you've learned on client side. We are about to take all those concepts to the server side, and now today we'll be just talking about few things about that. Okay, so just let's talk about our course in general. Let's have a quick introduction of the course. So of course, congratulations that as I said, someone has said something in the chat window. Semester, but only because I took. Okay, Andrew, no problems. So congratulations, successfully completed. So you have of course successfully completed triple two, web triple two, that web 222, web 322. In this course, we'll be expanding on. So a very important thing is that we have to expand our knowledge to using web servers or JavaScript. As I said, the JavaScript. since inception, it was a client-side language. In some good old years, it was supposed to be a Java, like a client-side language, and it worked as a client-side language. But then it, everything changed. That's dynamic server, dynamic web applications using JavaScript with Node.js and Express.js. So these are the two, or maybe I can call two or one giant things that we'll be just discussing. We'll be discussing Node.js, and I don't know that whether you were introduced to Node.js or not in your previous course. Any response maybe from anyone else, that were you introduced to Node.js a bit, maybe for running the JavaScript code? Sometimes some people just they, like what I anticipate is in Web 222 also sometimes the professors they used with a Node.js. So have you people worked in Node.js anything before? Any response other than maybe then came an Andrew? Yeah. So were you okay? So Node, can you have worked in Node? That's good. So you worked in Node. So you used to like basically sometimes maybe working your JavaScript files by using this Node, running the Node. That's good. So if you are familiar, even if you are familiar, then also we'll be just taking some of the important concepts out of that. All right. So what we'll do is learning a host, like we'll also be learning a host of new modern technology, as well as expanding some of our knowledge of JavaScript to HTML5. So our current knowledge will be expanded. It will go, it will be expanded from it, and then we'll be just doing what? We'll be just trying to learn some of the hosting our applications on some of the advanced technologies that we have to work in. So yes, of course, it would be a lot of fun, and we will be just working on that, and that we before we get started, please explore the course website. So I hope you have explored this course website before, and now I'll just start looking into this, and let's discuss about that. All right. So this is our weekly schedule that we have over here, and all assignments will be released on Friday of the week indicated, and will similarly be. So what is that you will have your I think you are familiar with this structure, because this was exactly almost the same structure that was followed before as well. So what we'll be doing is that we'll be just having our assignments on Fridays, released on Fridays, and each test will commence on the start of the corresponding lecture period, and we'll see that when we'll have all those things being done. This schedule is subject to change. Students will be informed any schedule changes while they're sending an email out. And of course, we will be just letting you know if something is happening that needs your attention. All right. So today, again, see week by week. This week one will be our course introduction, and of course, we have our assignment number one. This is very interesting. So today we'll be just talking about the assignment number one, and we'll see that what is that assignment, and I'll just upload that assignment, and on Friday, and then you will be just submitting that by next Friday maybe. All right. So then we have that this first week will be the introduction of the course, as we are doing right now, and we'll be just discussing lots of technologies, lots of new things. And today we'll be just setting up our account, setting up our few things, and then working on those to basically to work like to we're just making the base for our course for today, and then we'll be just using that base to go all the way. All right. So then in second week, we'll be just taking Node.js introduction, and that's another. Of course, this is something that we have to just thoroughly discuss over here. If you have worked in Node.js before, maybe to work on the client side of it. Now we'll be start talking about the server side of it, how to set up servers and how to work on those servers, and how to run your dynamic web applications. And then we have a JavaScript concepts reviews, and then because JavaScript has changed a lot before, like since its inception, as I said. So it has been there have been a number of concepts that you'll find very important, very interesting, and the likes of its latest ECMAScript and everything. We'll be just reviewing that, and also we'll be just looking at few things. And the third week we have our test one, and again this test one will be comprising of week one and two, right? So then we have Express.js introduction. So another interesting part, and we will be just seeing what is Express and how do we use Express for maintaining our for running our servers and all those things. So then assignment 3 will be published and assignment 2 will be due. So you will have your, the first assignment is due next week. Otherwise you will have 1 week in between, so there will be 2 weeks in between, like assignment submissions. And then forms, processing forms, which is one of the very important part when you talk about the web applications and websites. You know that these forms play a very very important role, and you need to work in, you have to be very comfortable with the forms. And so we'll be working with like forms with express.js, and see that how we can just effectively utilize them. Of template engines. This is something very interesting and something very important that we'll be discussing in our week 6. Then we have relational databases. I'm expecting that you all have done this CRUD operations and everything, and you are familiar with relational databases. Am I right? Because Kim is just replying very actively. So am I right that you have worked in relational databases? You are familiar with CRUD operations, or so to speak, like CRUD, CRUD. Are you familiar with those applications? Maybe other than Kim. Kim has just already replied with 2 things. Anyone, maybe? All right, I'm just waiting for that. Are you familiar with CRUD operations? CRUD. Let's write that in chat window so that everyone gets. Okay, so Naseem, you have just joined us. Welcome. I think looks like you joined us. Okay, so yes, you are familiar with operations. You are familiar with relational databases, so to speak, and we'll be just talking about the relational databases in our one of the week, and then we'll be just talking about. Okay, okay. So you are taking rock. You are taking right now, Rocky. So no problem. And of course, the things that we'll be discussing over here, by the time we'll reach over there, you will be already familiar with all these things. So that's not a problem. That should not be a problem for you. What I anticipated. So and then MongoDB, if you are familiar with that, and that is something. Okay, so again, that's as I was expecting, that it's a mix of a group, that some people have taken some few courses and some are right now taking it. So I will get familiar with that. So that's okay. So you have used a MongoDB a bit. So that's very good. So again, so these responses, if you can just please put those responses as someone has put it. I'm taking that at the same time for the first time. So that would give me a very good idea that how we are going about. So please, I would love to have these responses. I always want to have you interacting with me, so that we have an interactive session. Not only because I enjoy that you people also interacting. So as I said, that you will be. I think that people learn more while they are interacting, or they are just, as I said, in our settings, that if you are speaking to the professor again. But that also that usually is in the physical setting. Anyhow, then we'll be talking about Ajax preview and practical Ajax programming. Ajax is another very important technology that you would have at least heard about it, or you would have work a bit in that Ajax also. So we'll be talking about Ajax and its practical programming, and then will be test 4 and 7 and 8 will be tested in that. So there is a study break, as you know, that student success week or study week, whatever you call it. And then we have state information, managing state information. I'm expecting that you are familiar with the sessions, you are familiar with few things, but again, we will be just looking at each and everything, and how do we maintain all those states, manage those states while working on a web page. All right. So and then we have introduction to jQuery and Bootstrap frameworks. So I'm expecting that you are already familiar, or already your introduction has been made to the jQuery. Am I right or wrong? Maybe anyone? Because what I see is in Web222 also I find that there is an introduction to jQuery. So you have already got the introduction of jQuery. Is that right or wrong? Maybe I'll be expecting an answer for that. Anyhow, so we just okay. Naseem said not me. Anyone else that have you? Because I what I see is that I found you have used Bootstrap. Okay, that's very good. And what I see is that in Web222. Okay, Rocky says that like you say that you do not remember. Okay, so no problem. We'll be just talking about that. jQuery is another interesting one. Even though some people say that it's going to be out, or it maybe it is not maybe something that people very much prefer. but jQuery has given us a lots of things. But anyhow, so in that section we'll be talking about the Bootstrap frameworks as well, as someone said that they have already worked or they've already used them, so they know the importance of that. But again, we'll say security considerations. It's one of the very important thing. You are a very good web developer, you have developed a very nice application, but your application is not safe. It's not saved from the attacks, the different attacks, different things. So for that, we'll be discussing the security considerations as well, and that also will give us the sense of how we will be making those robust applications, those secure applications, that those applications that are typically that are typically being like they must be called as the professional applications because they are secure from everything. And then we have a course review in the last one. So this is the overview of general schedule of the course. And as I said, that some people are very actively replying. That is giving me a good sense of how people have because as I said in the beginning, those who have just joined us, I'm just telling yet again that this is the first time I'm at Seneca, so I will have to just uh, gauge the structure, gauge the students who are coming from the back. So that's why I've just been a bit more asking questions. Anyhow, and then that you have got as you have previously seen that you have got notes of everything. So every week has a notes, like has notes associated with it. So there are no as you are familiar with this, there are no PowerPoint slides or something. But what we'll have is that we'll have these notes, and these notes are not to discuss in the class. We will not be discussing these notes specifically line by line, of course. What we'll just looking at all the concepts that have been discussed over here, and then you will be just reading those notes out on your own. I hope that was the method being used in your Web222, that you have to just go through all those notes before, maybe sometimes before coming into the class. And if you are doing that before joining us the session, and as we are going through a very difficult time, some students, they are not able to just join on time, as I see that there are only 8 to 9 people over here. So we'll have this recording session, so you can just look at these recording sessions later on, and you will be just looking these notes, and these notes will be giving you a quick sense of what we are discussing for a particular week. So this is for notes for our today's class. These are the notes for that, and we'll be just looking at those notes shortly. These are all the introduction to some of the technologies, and these are all the introduction to some of the things that we have already discussed. And of course, I will be just looking few things in the deeper detail. And then we have these notes for every week. You can just go and find these things out, and we'll be just, as I said, jQuery introduction. There are the notes related to it. So everything has related those notes. And then we have this graded work. So uh, as I think this was, please correct me if I'm wrong, that this was the same method more or less in your Web222, and so we have six tests during the term, and each test will be 35 minutes, and it will be worth 10% of your final course grade. So that's a good amount of grade that this six test will be taking you to 10%. So there's no talk about the midterm exam or the final exam. Test little test, and what happens is that usually students, they just because of some reasons, we are all of us have that bad day when we cannot just appear for a class, or we cannot just give the test, or we are not in the right frame of mind. So what is happening is that this will be that your the lowest marks test will be ungraded, and I hope you are familiar with that as well. So looks like that these three courses in the chain, 322 and 422, they're all follow more or less the same plan. So anyhow, if you see that all tests will be handwritten, and we'll have it was a good environment when you're online, so they were all handwritten. And so right now they will not be handwritten, of course they will be online. The total value of the all tests will be 50%. As I said, the 10%, the lowest grade will be dropped if you miss a test. So this is important. Please bear with this policy, that if you miss a test, there's no opportunity to do a replacement test. However, absence due to illness, uh, so we are expecting again that you might miss one test, and that should be enough. And yes, for that, if you have missed that test, of course you are not losing anything at all, because that will go as your the lowest grade test. So what I would recommend you is that please just try to just attempt all these tests, because of course these tests will be very important in making a good 50% of your grade altogether. And so that's a huge amount of grade that you will be getting through that. Okay, so um, of course this will be for all students, and you'll be five best results will be taken out. All right. So we have planned six assignments during the term. So six plus six. This is the formula. Most assignments have a 2 week lifetime. If you do not submit an assignment by due date, its grade is zero. So again, we have to just follow this zero tolerance again in terms of due dates. So please just try to just because 2 weeks is a good amount of time, and you have all those 15 days, so to speak, or maybe 13 14 days that you can just work on. So but the policy that says is that again that you will have to submit that on before the due time. And of course, submission policy must be clearly specified in the assignment section. They will come in the assignment section. Just don't worry about that. uh, Blackboard, and then submitted assignments must run locally. Startup errors causing the assignment app to fail on startup will result a grade of zero. So again, your assignment should be successfully running, and if not running, then that would be a problem altogether for everyone. Anyhow, so important note: posting your assignment solutions anywhere. Stack Overflow, GitHub repository constitutes a violation of. So again, you are not required to, you are not allowed to submit those like posting your assignments and somewhere, because this is against the academic integrity. Obtaining or attempting to obtain or aiding another to obtain credit work for improvement evaluation performance by dishonest or deceptive means. So this is the policy that you may just go and just read that out. And of course, as I said, you are familiar with this technology, with this terminology as well. All right. So I have few emails. Okay, yes. So some student is unable to join, uh, not able to access. Okay, so there's some student who is unable to join. Let me just quickly, as I said in the beginning, because of course this is our first class, and we might have some hiccups for the different people. Let me just okay. Let me just go into that. I remember opening my email address. What happened? What. All right. So oh, all right. So there is one student who is unable to access the class link. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. So those who are, of course, you people are old with it. Can any one of you gauge what can be the problem if one of the students is unable to just join this? Mhm. Okay, so let's see what's going on. All right, let me just quickly have a look at. All right. All right. So are you people still able to hear me? All right. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Again, there was something. So again, can anyone just help me out that if some student is unable to just join, what can be the problem? Because you usually join as a student, and I'm just joining from my other devices, and it shows me connected, but looks like someone is. All right. So okay, so I've just received another. All right. So there are a few people having problems. So um, I'll just address that. Let's complete our this part of the lecture, and then I'll just try to address that. And do you people have any, like, I will be just making a team as well. But do you people have any team or any group together in a course maybe? So there are two people who are effectively having problems. So I'll be just discussing that in during the break. Anyhow, so let's quickly just complete that, and then we'll be just talking about. So so backup and replacement tests are though not there. DOS extensions are not there. Of course, we are human being, and if something really extraordinary happens, of course that might be understandable. But as that we don't do extensions of assignments for the number of reasons we are following that cause problems for other work that follows an assignment because it leaves less time to complete the next piece of work. Of course, that one of the assignment, if we just extend that date, that has a ripple effect, and it just it just changes all those things. So again, this was something that we had to discuss. Anyhow, so now what we'll be doing is that we have this resources, and in these resources we can see that we have got a number of developer tools. We'll be just talking about all these things, and we'll be just running the Visual Studio Code. I'm expecting that you already have Visual Studio Code installed into your systems, and you people are familiar with that. So there is no required textbook. Of course, this is a web course, and this there is Dr. Google first of all, and there are other people, there are other resources around that you can just hover around, and you can just find out what resources that you are available. So required online resources, there are required online resources, and these are the MD and web docs, and it has thousands of trusted and authoritative source of web development information of interest, HTML5, CSS5 reference, DOM reference, and then we have these documentation of different softwares that we'll be just working on, W3 standards, and all those CSS selectors, MDN, and then so these are all specifically the things, and the useful keyboard shortcuts and all those things. These are all discussed over here. Okay, what I'll leave you over here is that something that we have to do. So has any one of you, I would like to have answer from all of you now, because as I say that there are a few people who are just responding quickly. So this getting started with Heroku. So how many of you are familiar with Heroku? I need in a chat window, I just need to have yes or no, Y or N. That's to be specific, Y or N. So if you are familiar, you can just write down Y. If you are not, you can just write N. Okay. So starting from first answer is N, 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 N. Okay. So I will be just 10 minutes. Saad is already familiar with that. That's very good, Saad. And have you just set it up for Node.js as well before? uh, if you have already worked in it? Okay. Makeda has also done that. That's very good. But those who have not worked in it, so it looks like there is, again, as I said, there is a mix of students. So some of you have already worked in that. So the main server environment that we'll be using in Web222 is Heroku from their website. Heroku is what? Heroku is a cloud platform that let companies build, deliver, monitor, and scale apps. We are the fastest way to grow from idea to URL, bypassing all those infrastructure headaches. So you can see that infrastructure headaches. So this is basically thing that is just telling us we want to save ourselves from the infrastructural headaches, and whenever you have to save yourself from the infrastructural headache, you know that something that comes in your mind is the cloud platform. So what I need all of you is that we'll take a quick 10 minutes break. That I'm anticipating that would be the like again that would be the process of that we will be just taking a 10 minutes break, or time break do you usually professors take during your classes, sync classes? Anyone? Is it a 10 minutes or a 5 minutes or what is that? What is traditionally being used? Because as I said that I'm for the first time with Seneca, so I'll have to just figure out few things. So what time is needed for you people to just have a stretch around, or maybe after stretching, after having a cup of tea, you can just come back and have a look at this Heroku, and this is all by itself explaining, and you will see that how you have to just set up. I'm expecting that this Visual Studio Code will be with you, and you have to just download this Node.js that is available here. You have to download Git. I hope you know what is Git, and if you don't, we'll be just talking about this all those Git and everything. And then we have to download Heroku CLI. Then through CLI we'll be working that. So anyhow, those people, as someone said that we have done that, and someone said that we are already worked in. So if you have already worked in and you are somewhere over here, that will be very good. So what I will be expecting all of you is that you just after the break, you just come here and have a look at it, and whatever has been instructed, you have to just follow it specifically, and then we'll just talk about that, and then we have code examples and everything running into that. So we are going for a 10 minutes break. It's 8:50 in my clock, and we'll be just back right at 9 a.m. sharp. Right. Thank you very much. So again, in the chat window, I might just write that we are going for a 10 minutes break, and I'll have to just help out those students. No, Rocky, you don't need to set up this. But again, I just want you to have a stretch around and have a cup of tea. Just go up, just leave your system, because it's always very difficult to concentrate it. So you just leave it for 5 or 6 minutes and then come back and just have a read at it, because we'll be just doing it step by step when we'll be just back, right? So you can do it while we come back. So right now you don't have to do that, right? So just take a break before that.